bad loss. No ifs, ands, or buts. Bad loss on the north side tonight. We talk about it.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Please support the show and be a part of the Locked On Cubs community by following on all audio platforms. And you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. And passion is almost certainly something you're going to see here any second. Not enough production from the Cubs on Wednesday night as they fall 5-3 to the Padres, as the series is now 1-1. We're going to get into a little bit of a recap and analysis right here. I know Sam is unhappy as the Cubs now fall to 13-10. Sam,
bad loss. Bad loss. There's a couple schools on why it's a bad loss. You could say, well, you got to do more against a journeyman pitcher like Michael Wacha, or
I think so,
or the bullpen, whatever. But to me, it's too many of these games. I mean, going into this season, I had us right about here through 23 games, give or take a game or two. But the journey I had us here because I thought we'd be better in these games, and so far we're not. The Chicago Cubs are 13-10 right now, but they have the best run differential in the National League. That doesn't match up, Matthew.
Right,
when you have the best run differential in the National League, you are supposed to be better than 3 games over 500. They are doing a phenomenal job of beating up on teams. 13-0 against the Dodgers, 2 blowouts in Oakland, blowout against Cincinnati, blah, blah, blah. Those only count for 1 win, guys. They have given away too many games this year. This is now their 3rd loss. The Cubs have lost 10 games. 30% of those losses, they were leading in the 7th inning or later. That's too many this early on. That's too many. They have to shore that up. I understand you have to do a better job against Michael Wacha, but you didn't, and you still led 3-2. You lost this game when Brandon Hughes, who is paid a large amount of money to get out left-handed hitters, came out of the bullpen and walked the 198 lefty. That lost you the game. And then the Padres executed. That's not on David Ross. That's not on anybody else. That's a pitcher executing poorly. And, Carter Hawkins was in the booth today and said, he sugarcoated the bullpen stuff. I know the total numbers are fine. I know that they've had some good games. They need to find out a way to close games better. I think they are missing a guy. I think they like Keegan Thompson in multiple innings. They like Adbert in multiple innings. They are missing a lockdown guy to get the baseball to feel better about. And it's frustrating because you're starting to see Patrick Wisdom regress. You're starting to see Ian Happ slump a little bit. You're starting to see Dansby getting a little bit of a funk right now. You're not going to be one of the top offenses in baseball all year. I just don't think that's the personnel. Trey Mancini's done an awesome job stepping it up while and countering for those guys. Mm-hmm. But if this team is going to play postseason baseball, which I believe they are good enough to do, I think you believe they are good enough to do, they have to start racking up these type of wins, and they've lost more than they've won so far, and that's frustrating.
This game was a great example of just zooming in and being frustrated with pitch-to-pitch moments because the walk to Grisham was really the pivotal point. Right. You let Tatis beat you. You probably didn't need to do that. There was an open base. Mm-hmm. He looks like he's about to scale Everest the last 2 days, and you let him beat you. And, I do think we might have some signs of Alzolay and Thompson maybe transitioning into more of a 1-inning role. Maybe occasionally you see them go 2, depending on the situation. But even Keegan Thompson there was starting to get loose, depending on what the Cubs were going to do there late. So I do think that, they've at least made that pivot. But yeah, I don't this doesn't strike me as a David Ross loss. Certainly,
No,
it
definitely
doesn't strike me as necessarily even like the bullpen. It was really just that moment in time. Although I will say, a big part of my notes tonight is being meager offensively against Waka.
Yeah, that's
To
fair.
me, that's frustrating.
It's fair.
It's a starter that enters the game with an ERA over 7. I think only getting 2 or 3 across was a disappointment. And if you get even four there, maybe the game is a different type of a ball game. So, Drew Smiley goes 5. Does pretty well. He got the first 2 outs.
Pitch well enough.
Yeah, pitched well enough. And I think the thing about the bullpen that you bring up, which is great to consider, and I'm fine with bringing this up even 23 games in. There's just a little more to be desired. That, the big picture, that seems like they're doing well and the numbers support it, but I do think there's a person missing. I don't know how else to put that. Not sure who that is. I don't know if it is going to be an internal type thing there, but I didn't think Hughes had it tonight, and that the Padres were able to edge the Cubs.
And the Cubs had one game this year that they won when trailing going into the 7th. You probably don't remember it because it ended up being a blowout, and that was against the Reds. They were down 3-1, and they won that game 12-5. It's just, I'm a big believer when you are not an uber talented team, that the way you make the playoffs is by stealing more than you give away. And It just doesn't feel like we've stolen many. I think the Urias Smiley game in Dodger Stadium was one for sure. That came on the back of giving one away the night before. It just doesn't feel like, and that's why people were kind of like, Sam, what do you mean you didn't want us to score anymore yesterday in Tuesday's game? Because I want us to win some tight ones. It builds the confidence. It makes you feel good. Baseball is a percentage game. It's an average game. And most of the time, like for example, the odds are, and I know we're going to preview this later, but the odds are when you play a good team like San Diego, you're going to get a game, they're going to get a game, and then there's going to be a 50-50 game. Felt like today was a 50-50 game. And, most of the time, that's how it goes. And that flip-flops a series. And I just feel like we're 13-10, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I'm very happy with where this team is at. But it just feels like we're leaving a little bit of food on the table. Just that's all I'm saying. Feels like we're leaving a little bit of food on the table. We have lost too many games. I think 3 games in 23, 3 games out of 10 losses where you've led going into the 7th tells you, number one, you're pretty good because you really could be a lot better than 13-10. And B, it's just too many. They've got to clean that up. And I thought a lot of people had a hand. This was Ian Happ's worst game of the season. I know he had that infield hit late. That was lucky. That should have been an out. He just totally misjudged the ball and left. And I thought a key play that nobody's talking about is, and you could speak to this better than me because you coach third a lot, but when the outfielder has the ball at a good depth before the runner that's trying to score gets to third base, there should be a play at the plate.
Yeah, right? Especially at this level.
And Ian Happ, that throw to the lead run against Grisham wasn't even, it looked like he underhanded it.
What happened on that fly ball?
Yeah, that was a disaster.
That was very strange.
It wasn't that windy.
No.
And I thought Suzuki had a ball early and right that dropped in front. I think this was just a bad game. And the Cubs offensively today hit the ball on the ground too much.
So many grounders.
They're struggling with the changeup right now. That's the pitch that's getting them. It's really the right-on-right changeup is really bothering Dansby. It's something he's got to fix. The Dodgers opened up that book on him, and he's seen a lot of them. And then Ian is struggling with that right-on-left changeup, but he was in between all night, taking called thirds right over the middle of the plate, 3-2. Wisdom slumping a bit. So I will say I like the 9th inning. The at-bat
Gomes and Nelly.
The at-bat by Velasquez in that 9th inning against Josh Hader, if he goes back down, I don't know how you could be more major league ready than that at-bat.
It was awesome.
what was it, a 10-pitch at bat against arguably the greatest reliever of the generation, and then he takes a perfectly takeable pitch, but a pitch that I don't know how he did. And by the way, Nico Horner has done awesome work against Josh Hader. Once Horner got to the plate there, I thought we had a great shot. I think he just missed it. He just missed the pitch.
Right.
I don't think he was that far off from winning that baseball game.
Right.
No, I'm serious.
No, he pops out to the catcher, game over. But yeah, the winning run is at the plate.
And that at bat by Velasquez is outstanding.
No, it's amazing.
And I think tonight's a night where, if you have Belly, against a guy like Waka who doesn't feature much up in the zones, probably a good matchup for him.
Yeah.
But I just don't see how you run out Hosmer every day or have Terens on the roster at this point and put this kid down. If you really want to win this year. Yeah, and by the way, if you really want to win this year, you got to start thinking about, I just don't get how Jed Hoyer's watching this not upset, because he's built a really good roster, but the bullpen isn't performing. And my guess is he's going to wait it out till April. And I saw somebody tweet at me just before we went on air, and it's so frustrating because we've had so much better bullpens and when we've stunk. Like last year, the bullpen was pretty good. In 21, before we lost 87 billion games in a row, Tepera and Chafin and Kimbrel were all really, really good. And you had a chance to get Chafin. You didn't do it. But it's just frustrating. Now if it feels like this is a really good team. And you just get tired of giving games up.
Right. And the run differential point really sticks out to me, because the metrics support the team in all three phases. Fangraphs has the Cubs entering the week, even before these two games with the Fathers, 5th in baseball, number 5, and they're 3 games over.
Yeah, because they've blown a lot of games.
They should be better. I think I have to make that the title of the episode.
Yeah,
they should be better than 13-10, and I'm not going to apologize for it because this is a good ball club.
Right.
And if you have a lead with 9 outs to go, you got to win this game.
Yeah, and you lose. And Ross made the right moves. And Ross, by the way, pushed the envelope a little bit. It's not like this was one of those. Sometimes you blow a game like this and you're like, well, we didn't have so-and-so available, so this person had to take it on the chin. He uses guys. And what's so irritating is that Boxberger comes out and throws his best inning of the season down 1. The people that think leverage doesn't matter, I heard JD and Boog talking about clutch hitting and their new school thinking, they are so completely wrong about that. You're telling me Brad Boxberger, who's his last couple appearances, he's looked terrible, and he comes out today on Wednesday and just 1, 2, 3 dots everything after the Cubs blow the lead. That bothers me.
In terms of what? Just the game moment?
Just as a frustrated fan.
Okay.
That just is man, you lost your job as a high leverage guy with the lead because you couldn't get it done. But now you look this good. Why weren't you? If you could just look this good when it mattered, we'd be 2 games better.
Right. And ultimately, perhaps that is a step in the right direction for him.
It is for sure. The game came down to one guy messing up, and that's all it takes. And that was Hughes walking Grisham. That was it.
And I know that we've talked about Merriweather. We did it for Monday's episode.
Yeah, another bad outing.
Can we just follow up on him? So that was not necessarily low leverage, right? Because it was the 9th inning.
Yeah, it's when I say low leverage, I'm and I've had people show me the manager book. They have it written down: high, right, medium, low. Technically, by manager terms, it's a low leverage. To your point, it's not a meaningless inning. It's still an important inning. But I support him going out there because you can't. The Cubs don't have an off day for 16 days.
I would have liked to maybe seen Estrada.
Yeah, you can't give up a run there.
I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah, you can't give up a run there. And he did. And by the way, another thing, Dansby Swanson should have caught that ball when Kim was stealing, and that should have been an out. And then that wouldn't have been that. There's a lot of little things.
Yeah. Good game for Kim.
Yeah, like I said. And then sometimes you're also playing a very good baseball team, and it irritates you when you lose the game. Tatis was great, but to Kim won the game.
Yeah.
His play on Suzuki, massive.
Oh, my gosh. So good.
I mean, massive. And then a couple hits, a 13-pitch walk, stole 2 bases. It was his night.
Absolutely. Coming up next, we're going to preview the rubber match, Cubs-Padres, Thursday afternoon. We do that next. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. The same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to the eBay Motors My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 120 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride with eBay Motors. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Welcome back to Locked On Cubs. You can catch every pitch of the Cubs hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app by searching Cubs. And we will be streaming soon on SiriusXM as well.
Matt, can I say one thing before you go?
Oh, yeah.
This? I don't like Patrick Wisdom swinging 3-1 against Josh Hader when you're down 2 and nobody on base. I think that's bad baseball.
I would love to follow up on that. Again, we have similar wavelengths here.
Yeah.
I thought him taking 0-0 right down the middle against Hader was brutal.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'd rather that than like you.
But the 3-1 swing was equally brutal.
You could hit a ball 800 feet. You're still down 1, and the odds say that if you swing against Hader, the ball's not gonna. You're probably gonna miss it. So that's just a little thing I just don't like. I just think that's not smart baseball. But I want to say this because I've been pretty negative this episode because I'm irritated. The Cubs are playing really good teams right now, and a lot of times when you play really good teams and you make one mistake, they make you pay. At some point, everyone plays the same teams pretty much this year, except you play your division a bit more. So you're gonna get your chance to take care of the bad teams. I don't love that the Marlins are about to get swept by the Braves.
I know.
Because that means it's baseball. They're probably gonna beat you.
Yeah.
But it's going to ease up a little bit here. So that is the start. Hey, Cubs have a great run differential. They're 13-10. Well, they're 13-10 because they played 7 of their 23 games against the Dodgers, 10 of their 23 games tomorrow, 10 of their 24 against the Dodgers and Padres, and 13 of their 24 games against the Dodgers, Padres, and Brewers. Those are good teams. And the Rangers aren't bad, although they had a rough week. And the Mariners are tough. You've only had one kind of exhale series. So that's the counter.
No, the strength of schedule is really good. And listen,
it's been hard.
14-13 is just not the goal anymore. This team is better than that.
The goal is to make the playoffs.
What was that?
The goal is to make the postseason.
Wow.
That's the goal.
I just got goosebumps, man.
It is. I mean, that's the goal. The goals change. When you're blowing
the goal
out,
has changed.
Yeah. Of course, the main goal is to make sure we're playing competitive baseball in August, throughout. And so I'm not wasting time, worrying about Bears training camp. But I think this team's good enough, and it's early, and let's see what happens. I'm just irritated. It's a bad defeat.
1:20 p.m. Central Standard Thursday.
That's another reason.
What?
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Hayden Wesneski versus Seth Lugo. Wesneski has never faced the Padres. Dansby Swanson has the biggest sample against Lugo, but he is 1 for 13. Everybody else on the Cubs either has 3 at-bats or less. Possible player to watch, though, Tucker Barnhart, who is 2 for 3 with a home run against Lugo. How important is it to win this game?
Not that important because it was important to win this Wednesday night's game because I did not feel good about Thursday. And by the way, this isn't a kid glove game for Wesneski. They cannot have a 3-inning start. Their bullpen is ravaged, and they don't have an off day. So he's going to have to eat innings. And look, you've played 2 games against the Padres. They scored 5 total runs. Out of those 5 total runs, it's basically been Kim and Tatis that have produced most of them.
Right.
Who got the 2 runs? Oh, and Cronenworth. You haven't heard from Machado. You haven't had to hear from Soto yet. You haven't had to really heard from Bogarts. And now we're going to throw in our kid who's really struggled against them, and Seth Lugo, who's off to a very solid start as a reliever, converted starter. I don't feel great about it, but that's kind of the vibe I had heading into Game 3 in Dodger Stadium after a bad loss, and they stole one. So maybe they'll do that. I'll only be able to watch like an inning of that game, maybe 2, which might be best for me.
Maybe so.
But yeah, it's going to be a tough one tomorrow. How about you have a game where you're down 2-0 the whole game, and the Padres just leave guys on after guys on after guys on, and Wisniewski battles and goes 5 2/3, gives up 2, and then in the 8th inning they walk a couple guys, you pop a 3-run homer, and you steal one. And get out of there. That's the type of win this team needs, a steal. Yeah, sure, I'll clap my hands for another 18-0 drubbing, but I want to see us win a game we're not supposed to.
Yeah, let's see it happen again. It's happened, I would say, that one time. Let's make it a second. Okay, let's make it a second. And it's too bad about Wisniewski that we have that type of vibe this early.
Well, no, maybe you don't. I do.
No, I do. He has the best stuff probably out of the 5 starters, and he's pitched the poorest.
I have him on my fantasy team. He will be benched. He will not pitch tomorrow.
Okay, well, there you go.
And listen, I hope the guy throws a perfect game.
Yeah, obviously.
And that's a tough matchup. I mean, there's some of the best hitters on the walking earth on this team.
Right. As opposed to what?
And
walking earth versus what? I don't know.
And it's supposed to be nicer tomorrow too.
Yeah, no, 60s and sunny.
Right. So they're gonna you wasted an opportunity tonight. There's no other bones about it, and I'm irritated.
We're gonna get a farm report coming up next. Today's episode is also brought to you by BetterHelp. Getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process, especially because we're always growing and changing. Therapy is all about deepening your self-awareness and understanding, because sometimes we don't know what we want or why we react the way we do until we talk through things. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LocdownMLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LocdownMLB. Welcome back to Locked On Cubs. Thanks for making us your first listen. I am stealing this comment 100%. I would like to be able to cite who this was, but I think it was Rodney. But if it wasn't, I apologize in the YouTube comments. He mentioned on Monday, I believe, about he might need better help, depending on how the Cubs do this week. I thought that was good. Sam, Pete Crow-Armstrong had a 16-pitch at bat on Wednesday in the AA Smokies 9-1 win. This 16-pitch at bat resulted in a grand slam.
Yep.
The center fielder is now slashing 341, 375, 614, playing solid defense, exciting player. I'm going to ask you the same question that Lindsey Crosby was asked the other day. If PCA was brought up to play against the Padres Thursday, how do you think he would do?
I think he would be in one game. I can't answer that. I think if he were brought up right now, he'd be a 3-WAR player that struggles to get his bat going, but gets on base enough and steals enough bases to where he's probably close to a league average hitter, and he's a phenomenal defensive player.
That's wild.
He's got to be one of the highest floor prospects in all of baseball, because if he absolutely stinks, he still absolutely won't stink, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the bat is starting to come along. I tweeted out today. I think the people behind the computers, the baseball prospectus, Baseball America, mom, bologna sandwich, I think they need to reevaluate PCA, because I think he's a very underrated prospect. I don't understand how somebody that has that tool of defense and that speed and is starting to show such signs with the bat cannot be a top 10, 15 prospect in baseball. I think they're misinformed.
Yeah, he's truly underrated. He should be rated higher.
Yeah, right. And so it's great to see. And Wicks threw well today. So
5 no-hit innings for Wicks.
yeah, and I'm thrilled about it. You just can't see it on my face because I like this baseball team and I'm upset about what happened tonight.
Well, I got 2 more for you. Kevin Alcantara in his last 9 at-bats has raised his average from 189 to 258. He has 6 hits in his last 2 games, 3 doubles, a homer,
He'll
4
hit.
RBI. Nice to see signs of growth from him.
He'll hit.
And the Iowa Cubs were down 4-0 Wednesday and won 9-5. All they do is hit. Chris Morel, 2 for 4 with a homer, and now has 8 homers on the year.
The Walkers, or I'm not sure if it's the Walkers or if it's just Mr. Walker, but they will be at the Tennessee Smoky Birmingham tilt on Thursday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got that DM today.
They'll have to send us a report.
Yeah, the report's going to be PCA's pretty good.
Everydayers, stay with us for Friday's episode as we recap the final game of Cubs Padres and get you ready for Cubs Marlins this weekend. The Cubs traveled to Miami.
Oh,
and played
is there a worse baseball state than the state of Florida?
Right.
Oh man, in terms of Major League Baseball.
And how about those stadiums?
No one goes to Marlins games. The Rays are 85-4. Nobody watches them.
Right, they're so good, man.
Nobody cares about baseball out in Florida. It should be 3/4 Cub fans and run through them.
And I believe the White Sox lost Wednesday.
There was folks, if you're local and you're a Chicago guy, listen to the caller on 1000 today. It's all over social media.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his name is.
I got to listen to that after this.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Was it Waddle and Sylvie?
It was Waddle and Sylvie. I believe he goes.
So they were on after the game today.
Yeah, I believe he goes by Birdo. I think that's what's going on in his radio, and he summarizes the Sox problems in the most beautiful, passionate, perfect delivery fashion. It's one of the top, and somebody like you will appreciate. It's one of the best radio calls I've ever heard.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it is one of the best radio calls I've ever heard, but I'm not the type of guy that gets like happy. Well, the Cubs are 13-7. Well, on the South side, they're 7 in a million. Nah, I care about my team and my team only.
Absolutely.
And
you've proven that.
This team is a good gosh darn baseball team, and they need to stop losing games that they lead in the 7th or later, especially at home. And I'm tired of the Pirates.
Me too. I'm already really annoyed by them.
No, I'm not. I gotta dig in deep into that. Contreras, their pitcher, just dominates the Dodgers today.
I don't get that
as a righty. I got to look into that because I'm not trying to deal with that.
No, I have no time for that, man.
No, I don't like how some of these guys I've never heard of, are swinging it.
And you know what's super annoying? They play the Nationals this weekend.
Oh, right before we do.
Yeah.
They'll probably sweep them, send an angry Nationals group to us, and we'll split in D.C. Okay, I'm done.
We gotta get out of here.
Too much
Be sure to hit that
negativity.
subscribe button for Locked On Cubs.
The Marlins better win tomorrow because we're not going to I want to sweep them, and we're not going to sweep them if they get swept.
And smash the like button for the algorithm, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your pods, and streaming soon on SiriusXM.
I need a Valium.
He's Sam Olper. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.
Tranquilizer.